Hello. So we're on episode 2 of Sweet Sundays, which is basically my show dealing with my mental health and my mental health journey. Also shedding light on mental health in Black people, especially Black women, and also discussing, giving people a safe space to understand that mental health is a real thing and it should be studied. So, um, just gonna kick it right off. I have realized that I mask um some of my mental health issues. I don't have a lot of them, but I mask um let's not say mask. Let's basically say the way I deal with my mental health, the way I deal with it. So basically I thrive in having a lot to do, right? That is when I thrive the most. So, like, for instance, if I have a lot to do, I have no time to sit and be inside my own head. I have no time to overthink. I have no time to ponder on things. I have no time to sit in it, right? Because I have so much to do, right? So my husband always saying, just chill, just sit down. It's your off day. You can do that later. And now he is more so like understanding as to why I do it. But in the beginning, he just could not understand why I didn't listen to him. Like he would tell me to sit down. And I mean, I wouldn't necessarily sit down, but I would get further enough away from him that he didn't know I was doing anything, right? So if he say, "Man, go lay down. I got this," or "We could do that later. You don't got to do that right now." I would go in the room and just randomly start doing stuff, organizing shoes, folding up clothes, matching socks, rearranging the kids' shoes. Like as long as I'm going, I don't have time to deal with myself, right? And a lot of times people look at that as like, oh, she a go-getter. She get things done. She, always on the go. She's a hustler. No, I'm running away from having to sit and deal with myself, right? And I know a lot of people probably like, dang, that makes sense. It does, because when you have nothing to do, you sit in your own mind. You sit in your own head. You run things back. You rethink things. You keep on going back and forth. You replay the same scenario in your head 3 and 4 times to try to make it different. But for as long as you have a lot to do, you don't necessarily do that, right? Me personally, I'm just speaking on me. So just like I give a disclaimer for Sweet Talk, I'm giving a disclaimer for Sweet Sundays. This is just me and my opinions, how I deal with things, how I'm navigating through my mental health. I am not a licensed uh therapist. I am not a life coach. I am not anybody. I don't have any accolades when it comes to mental health counseling and all that. But what I can say is, in my journey right now to be a better me, this is how I'm handling this situation, right? Mind you, I didn't say be a better mother, be a better wife, be a better boss at work, be a better hairstylist. I said be a better me, right? So people kind of always want to fix their mental health for someone else. And it's never gonna work. Anytime you do something for somebody else, it's almost temporary, or it's an easy fix, or it's like putting a piece of duct tape over a hole in the water hose. Eventually the water is going to wear on the duct tape and the hole is going to open back up. The hole is always there, you just covering it with duct tape. That's the same thing with mental health. When it comes to mental health, in my past experiences with trying to, you know work on my mental health, it has been the duct tape. I go to therapy. I address the issue. The therapist tell me, "Oh, you're doing the work. We can, slow your sessions down. We don't have to have them so frequently because you're where you need to be." And then in that, I start feeling better. I start looking at things differently, and then I think I'm fixed, right? And I do be fixed until something happens, right? It healing and changing has nothing to do with what you do after the initial change. It has everything to do with how you handle the same situation when it comes up again, right? So I could say that's like a thief, right? Get a thief. They get busted. They go to jail. They get out. They don't steal no more for the time being, right? But also in that time being, they don't go in no store, right? A year can pass, 6 months, 6 weeks, and then they go in the store and they steal because they have not been in the situation to where they have to steal or to where they steal, right? They're not in the environment they was once in. A lot of times when we try to fix things about ourselves, we try to avoid that environment, right? So like if I have asthma real bad, clearly I'm not going to be around smokers, right? Clearly I'm not going to go to a cigar bar. Like when you initially identify a problem, our first thing is to not put ourselves back in that situation, right? So if the thief go to jail and they know, well, anytime I go in the store, I have this urge to steal, I'ma just stay out the store. And they might not steal for a long time because they're not putting themselves in that environment. And then one day you in the car with your homegirl and she gotta stop at the store to get her baby something. And she say, come on, we're gonna run in this store right quick. She don't understand what you battling. All she know is her friend in the car with her. And then boom, you're in that environment and you end up stealing again. It doesn't mean that you didn't try to change. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It just means that when you initially identify the problem, we tend to just avoid the situations that put us in those head spaces, right? Let's say, for instance, when I first went on my weight loss journey, when I first started focusing on my health, right, I immediately stopped eating out, right? Stopped eating out. That was my first thing. Well, no, that was my second thing. My first thing was to stop drinking Coke, right? Cold turkey, no Coke. I literally went straight to nothing but water. Lost 15 pounds in 2 weeks. That Coke, that sugar, oh, it'll take you down, right? Anyway, so I initially stopped drinking soda and I stopped going out to eat, right? Because I can manage my intake better at home, right? I'm doing the work. I'm eating healthy. I'm working out. I'm doing everything I need to do. And boom, somebody invited me to lunch at work one day, right? First time going to a restaurant, going out to eat in maybe 2 years, right? So we get in the restaurant and it's just all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I almost had an anxiety attack. I looked over the menu maybe 15 times. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And I don't, I'm not prepared for this because I literally just avoided going to restaurants. Ultimately, I just got a salad, right? But even in that, I felt convicted because I'm like, I should have been okay with just picking some food, right? However, because my ultimate goal was to stop eating bad, and I didn't have the discipline to continue to go out to eat and make good choices, I just stopped going to restaurants, right? And then when I was put back in that environment, now I eventually made the right decision, but the initial being back in that environment, I was nervous, I was scared, I didn't know, I was confused, I didn't know what to do, right? And then I just, like I said, eventually just picked the salad. But I said that all that to say this. Yes, you could do the work. Yes, you could be absolutely okay and think you're healed or you're no longer having to deal with certain issues until you're put back in that environment, right? And my goal in my mental health journey right now is to actually fix the problem. So instead of putting a duct tape on the hole, I just want a whole nother water hose. Yeah, I know I talk in analogies. Follow with me, okay? And I'm not gonna just patch it this time because I just been patching it, and I'm proud of myself because it takes a lot to even admit to that. I've patched it in the past. I've patched it, and now I'm not patching it. I'm just getting a whole new thing, and I believe in God, right? I got a strong, strong walk with God, and He can fix, change, and make anything better, right? Even low me, right? So, and no more patching, just changing. No more patching, just replacing. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, and tell a friend to come see me every Sunday for Sweet Sundays, where we walk through my mental health journey. See y'all later.